I don't know if we spoke about this zone. Let me see markups. No, we had the bigger zone, which I think we never hit. Yeah, we never hit that zone. Yeah, but I had the zone. Yeah, you can see here, right? I had that zone for myself. Did react hard of it, and if you look at the 3 minute, it is refined, right? If you look at here, this is what kind of caused the whole move downwards after you have this break of structure right here, and this already a mitigation from news retrace, nice. But yeah, let's go into replay Friday right here, right? So if you look at this, you want to look at the 4 hour or 1 hour to see if you potentially had a bounce from somewhere, right? Looking at this, well, this is a very big demand zone, right? So let's see if we can refine that on the 15/30 minute. You don't want to refine too much, but you want to have somewhat of a refinement, right? You could take it with the wick. Now, as we see right here, this is not a tap in, so this is probably inducement. We could see these lows getting taken very soon. And how do I know that this is inducement? It's simply by trusting my own zone, right? I trust my own zone that this demand zone is valid. And yes, this is a big demand zone. It's about 30 pips, but you're looking for confirmation inside the zone, right? Which would be on the 1/3 minute. And well, this is news candle, and this is your whole demand zone actually, right? It's actually refined. Like even you could refine it like this, I guess, perfectly refined. So I think price actually does bounce from here, and that we just didn't have the best zone uh right here, because if we took it like that, we may see a bounce. But what we're looking at right now is, we have price, we have these highs. What I would like to see on the 3/5 minute is a break of these highs, then we could do a continuation buys, right? And once that happens during Asia is what I would like, then we could look for potentially just continuation buys, right? Because price has to break some sort of highs in order for us to have continuation buys, right? Because if price is like this, going downwards or consolidating, then there's no point in looking for continuation buys, because price is not making break of structures to the upside, right? So we're waiting till Asia. Now this Asia, we see we are coming towards these highs. We cleared these highs now, which is nice. And what we expect or what we want is that potentially um go on the 1 minute first of all. What we want is the price keeps on breaking these highs, right? So first of all, we have a break of structure. And why is this break of structure important? I could also explain it like this. This break of structure is important because this is the break of structure that causes your high to break, right? This isn't a liquidity sweep. This is a break of the high, the previous high, right? This is the, like, let me say it like this. If you look at let's say if you look at the range you had from 4:30 o'clock, right, which was this high. So the Thursday range was kind of like, of course there was this as well, right? But this is your somewhat high, right? Because it reacts off this supply, right? So these zones are valid, right? This supply is valid, got validated by this. So now this high is a strong high, because once price breaks above, I know that this supply is gonna get mitigated, it's gonna fail, and then we're gonna see continuations, right? So this is the range I'm trading in, right? So this is the range low, this is the range high. Now we break range high, we go to the upside, and this causes me to look for continuation buys. And now if the range low got broken, then you could have looked for continuation sells, which I don't advise because we look at the higher time frame perspective, but that's an idea, right? Now what we see is on the 1 minute that we had that break of structure, and this is the break, like this is the zone that causes the run, right? This is the demand zone that causes the run. That gives me more validity, like that makes it more valid for me to take this demand zone, right? So now what do you see? We see price, essentially what price does is a break structure, and then it has this liquidity sweep. And once price breaks these highs, once again, then I know that we are perfectly in a bullish scenario, because then we are 100% sure that this is nowhere near a liquidity sweep or anything like that, right? So we're just gonna wait simply. So it's a little bit laggy. Don't know why, but so we're consolidating, and if you, as you know, I speak about it a lot. Consolidating at the liquidity sweep is nothing that should happen. Oops. Consolidating at a liquidity sweep is not what should happen. So we know that price is gonna run higher eventually, and then we could look for a breakout structure, and then we have the bias. So let's see. So what do you see? Price coming somewhat back. Um, yeah, we have this demand zone, so we could set a limit right here on this demand zone. It is extra. Normally, I would not take a limit randomly, but since it's extra valid by causing the breakout structure, I am okay with taking this demand zone. Take profit. First of all, you could take the simple highs, or since we are looking for continuation bias, you could also look for new highs, right? And we actually see double top created right here, so this liquidity would be a perfect target. Or you could even target these highs, which is very likely to hit anyway, right? I could see price even run all the way up to this liquidity right here. It just depends if you're down to hold that long, right? But just for the stream, I'm gonna take a 1 to 4, which is more than happy, especially during Asia session where the volume is quite low. It is a very good one restore, right? So let's see. Now what do we see, right? We see price bouncing before our POI. And now we're not gonna FOMO in, we just expect this to be inducement, right? So we see this as liquidity for us to be taken, right? So I mark this as my liquidity area. So what I could expect, let me also put this in the middle. What do I expect? I expect, why is it like that? Center, top, or bottom. Bottom should be kind of sluggish. So what I expect price, make fake highs, come below, sweep liquidity, tap my zone, and then go higher. And what also is a possibility is this price just runs higher, which is okay. I don't care if price runs higher. Okay, I do care, right? You don't get an entry, but it's not the end of the world, right? You just miss an entry and that's it. There's nothing really to be worried about because you're not losing money. You just not realizing any profits, which is fine because the market gives enough opportunities, right? So let's see what happens. So yeah, as the second scenario, which is price running higher, price is TP, so we cancel our limit. Now what do we see? We see the breakup structure right here. We take this demand zone as a valid zone. We could take a limit right here, right? Could also identify this demand zone, which I would take this demand zone. Um, Not yet, right? We could easily see price come back into here, and then we're targeting a 50-minute continuation high, which is the next week, right? Just simple liquidity target. So let's see. So take profit hits, canceling limit, but as I always say, make sure to keep those demand zones in mind. Don't delete your demand zones because price could easily retrace back and then push from your demand zones. So you want to be making sure that you are in, that you know that there is a demand zone, right? And that you marked it out previously. So once price comes here, you just know that there's a possible reversal gonna happen, right? So I would not take this break of structure, right? This demand zone, just because first of all I didn't get filled on my limit, which I would have liked, and since we already swept major liquidity, it's more or likely that price is gonna retrace a little bit, and we also have a lot of liquidity along the way, right? We have all these lows along coming to the downwards, so we know that we're just identifying liquidity and this 50-minute high being swept, right? Because yeah, whenever a highs gets swept like that, you just know. Now of course this is liquidity forming, yes, but price forms liquidity, but also price takes liquidity, right? And you just gotta identify which is gonna happen when. And now I expect price to first of all take these lows and then go higher, right? So we're gonna mark out these liquidities as well. It's all about liquidity at the end of the day, right? You can even be the best trader, trade like with the best demand zones. If you can identify liquidity, it's all useless. So I'm gonna go on the 3 minute because I don't want to wait too long. What do we see? We see price sweeping liquidity. We sweep these highs. This is the first high, right? This is not the second high yet. So let's see what happens on the way down. Also, we have inducement here, which is nice. This zone could be valid. We're gonna see. We want to market enter this, not limit. So let's see. So we want a break above these highs, clear break, in order for us to get an entry. Yeah, so no entry right there. We didn't get any clear break, so that's no entry for me. Now we have our zone here. Since it's been about 3 hours, I'm gonna mark the liquidity at these lows as well. You know, you have these lows, but you also have these lows, so I probably think that these lows will get taken as well. Could also look at the 3 minute or 5 minute to identify some liquidity. Maybe we could see it on the 15 minute. This is kind of a 15 minute order block as well, I guess. But yeah, I would just target, look at this liquidity. Also keep this one in mind. We could see price sweep these lows and then go up, right? So we're gonna keep in mind this, because what we would think is price comes like this, right? Price does something like this, price goes lower, we think that this demand zone is broken, which in fact it just swept liquidity and it's gonna take us out and it's gonna go to the upside, right? So we don't want to be caught on the fake move. We want to make sure that we catch the right move. So we're going to make sure that if a liquidity sweep happens, we identify the liquidity sweep, and we're not going to think that it's a fail of demand, right? Of course, price could just have a fake liquidity sweep, go to the upside for a fake moment, and then take us out. But that's just part of trading, right? Trading is not being 100% correct, because that doesn't exist. If it did exist, you were a millionaire, right? So we just want to have the highest probabilities on our side, and that's what we're gonna do. When do you stop looking for continuation? Wait. I stop. So I stop looking for continuation. Most likely, whenever first of all liquidity gets taken, like this, right? We swap these liquidities. So this is when I stop, right? This is when I stop for continuation. This is when I actually, this is a double top, but we swap this liquidity, right? So this is when I kind of stop, and also when we leave behind multiple demand zones. Like for example, we left 4 demand zones, which we like three, let's say three good demand zones, but we didn't fill any of them, right? And we just have too much liquidity to the downside. So I expect a retracement sooner or later, but of course, you could take a 1 minute continuation buy, but price has been going up for, well, about 6 hours now, right? It's about 6 hours. Price doesn't go up forever, right? Sooner or later there's a retracement gonna happen, and since we swept liquidity, which is the major point, sweeping this 15-minute high was gonna be, the point where I stop looking for continuation, because when you're buying continuations, you're aiming for liquidity, right? And now what do I see? If I wanted to buy here, I'm aiming for this liquidity, but I don't think this liquidity is gonna get taken, because it's too early, right? And we're also approaching a new session. We're approaching London, right? It's 1 hour before London. Most likely we won't go this high before London happens. We will see retracement. We will see a fake out move, something in that sort, and then we will see, what I expect, right? I'll just expect what I just tell you what I expect. What I expect is price come either from bounce from here or bounce from here, any of these three zones. I don't care which zone it is. I look for a confirmation. If it is there, then I join. I expect these highs to get taken, so I'm targeting this high. I'm not targeting for the other high. And if you ask me why, is first of all is because it's too high, right? I don't want to be targeting for an unrealistic risk to reward, right? Um, and this is just our swing high, which is also the Asian high. You have to keep in mind that session highs play a big role in trading, because it's a psychological level, right? Because breakout traders, they wait for the Asian high to get broken out. So what they do is they wait, boom, boom, they enter, right? Whatever. But we are not one of them. We are just taking profit where their entry is, right? And they get faked out, and we take profit perfectly, right? So sessions are also very important. So let's see if we get the confirmation, right? I hope that answers your questions. If it doesn't, then just let me know. You can ping me. That'll be easier. Actually, let me actually. My guys read, so it's easier for me. So we're not looking for any buys until we are inside the POI, right? Even if it bounces before my POI, I don't care. Price can run 50 pips before tapping me in, I don't care, because I didn't have the confirmation. Now what do? I wait for the confirmation. And what was the confirmation that I talk about a lot is two white candles like these, right? This is enough confirmation for me that price could run higher, but it has to happen inside the POI. So price should have swept this high, which it didn't. Now since we are, we swept liquidity, so what I want is price to break this high once again. So once price breaks this high, right, I don't want a liquidity sweep, right? There's a difference between sweeping highs and a liquidity sweep. And what is that? This was a liquidity sweep, right? Price went that, and it didn't body closure above it. So what do I want? I'll explain it. So what do we see? We see a full body closure. So let's say I get filled here. I'm entering like this, stop like that. My target is this high, simply, right? And the risk to reward isn't too ideal. Maybe we could see price pushing back towards uh, a 15-second zone. Let's see if that happens. Um, what do you actually see? You see kind of somewhat price come back, right? On a 15-second, the body closure doesn't really matter, but you see price coming back towards this 15-second chalk flip. Now you could still see price coming inside, this demand zone, which is your 15-second demand zone. But at the end of the day, that's also a good entry we got, right? So we had these two, we had this breakout. This is good, right? So now price should just run straight upwards. It should not retrace, if not towards this demand, right? We'll see if it does. But I don't think it will, but we'll see. So but I don't think price will bounce, but okay. So now, what do I do? Uh, First of all, kind of had a continuation by now. I wouldn't take this one myself, but you had this breakout structure and then you had to retrace, right? This was a sloppy one, I know, but at the end of the day, it was one right now. What do you have? You have a simple 2.3 R take profit, perfect take profit. Let's say 2 R, right? Because spreads, yeah, you bank 2 R, right? Which is not bad. Um, my apologies for that. If you have a high win rate, then a 2 R is very valid, because I take 2R any day. I don't care about risk to reward if it's high or low. If I'm taking profit, then I'm taking profit, right? If I'm winning with a 2R, I'm winning with a 2R. It does not really matter. So what do I see now? We of course see that price swap liquidity. So now what do? I mostly don't look at my drawings anymore. Looking at this, I'm looking for my 3-minute zone to hold. Right, this is the zone that bounced. This zone should hold. If this zone doesn't hold, then I'm stopping looking for continuation buys, because that will briefly tell me that we're not in bullish momentum anymore. And then we need a deeper retrace towards a 50-minute POI or a 1-hour POI. So let's see. Let's see on the 1 minute actually. So we actually come back. We see the confirmation I'm looking for, right? The double white candle. Let's say you get filled here, stops like this. You're targeting these highs once again, or even newer highs, right? Since at the end of the day, this zone did hold, right? So I'm looking for a setup like this, right? And of course, once these highs break, we're going break even, because I don't think personally that price should come back here. And if it does, then I just get a better entry. So you get stopped at break even immediately, actually. Now let's see price does bounce. What actually happens is price fails right now, right? So now we know that this demand zone failed. So now we're looking for that. We're now looking for a supply that caused my demand to fail, which is this one, right? So now we could see a retracement towards this supply. If it does, then we could see a sell based off here. And if we don't, it's fine, right? We're also gonna look at the 50-minute POI, which is gonna be right here for a potential bounce or something like that. So until price comes towards any of those POIs, I'm not looking for anything. I might look for continuation sales, right? But that's about it. I personally wouldn't, right? I personally just wouldn't. So it's very choppy. Today was actually very choppy because there was news. So let's see. Okay, so what do you see? We see that price is actually. Do I have my 15-minute zone mark? I don't. So let me mark my 15-minute zone if we do get a confirmation inside that zone. Is it that zone? Is it that big? Holy. But yeah, what do we see? Could actually refine it like this probably. But what do we see? We see price actually mitigate deep down inside our POI, right? I I want to refine, but I don't want it to refine, right? I'm gonna look at 5 minute. Usually take like body closures, right? Like this, but I don't know. Maybe we should take the wick as well. I'll take the body closure. I don't care if it doesn't tap it. It doesn't tap it. I don't really care. But what do I see? I see that this is the supply that caused my demand zone right here to fail. This was a 50-minute demand zone, very important. So we could see price come back and then see a drop down, right? I'm looking at the 1 minute. What do you see? Um, okay, we actually do manage to get a chalk flip before we hit the demand, so we could see maybe liquidity getting taken below these lows right here, right? Since we have a chalk to the downside to the upside, so we could see people entering on this demand zone. But since we are not bullish yet until we hit this POI, we could see liquidity getting taken. So we're now approaching this supply zone, um, which I would refine like, let's see, on 3 minute maybe. Essentially, the zone really, we could also consider this supply zone. Keep that in mind as well, because that essentially was a supply zone that caused the whole demand zone to fail, right? Now let's see if we do manage to get a confirmation. We'll drop down on the 1 minute, right? Getting the two soldiers which we did not manage to get. So we see that the supply zone failed, right? We had the liquidity sweep and the price breaks above liquidity sweep. So we're not looking for anything, right? Now what do we see right here is we have this POI right here, which is still valid, right? And why is this POI valid? Because first of all, this POI caused a break of structure, and this is the mitigation of that POI as well. And this is the 3 minute we spoke about. This POI, the supply zone caused this 3 minute demand zone to fail, which caused the price to move down a lot. Now what do we see? I see good amounts of liquidity being built, so I could take a limit off here personally. See good amount of liquidity being built. I'm taking a stop like this, very very tight stop. You could also market enter this, but this is a very tight stop that I would take. And I'll also show a market enter example. Um, take profit could be like this, to be honest. Just these lows, very simple. 127. If you take spreads 126.5 setup, right? And also I'll also show if we get an like we either hit stop loss, right, straight, or we get the confirmation as well. So we either get a double setup or we just get a one setup. So let's see. Also, it's very late. Wouldn't advise trading at this time. So what do you see? We actually see the price does give us a double two candles. So taking an entry like this, stop like that, TP like that, and the risk to reward is actually crazy different, right? So that's something to be like. See, that's the difference by taking a risk on a limit, and it's half risk to reward, right? You actually see. Let's see if you get a 15-second chalk flip, and this will show that the 15 seconds is actually quite OP. You have a 15-second chalk flip right here. So we would like price, to come back towards that POI, or maybe refine it like this. So let's set a limit right here. If it does manage to hit, then this would be the 15-second setup, which is going to be a little bit crazy, right? Again, this it's a 127, and since yeah, we could take it 126 as well. So price managed to hit your supply on the 15 second. And on the 15 second, we don't want to be refining too much because it's like 1 pip difference, and that's not that important. And we could even look at the 1 minute, and this was just a valid 1 minute supply. Nice meltdown actually. Didn't expect to melt down this quick, to be honest. So you have three entries, right? You have the 15 second entry, you have the 1 minute market enter, and then you have the limit entry. So essentially, price melts down, hits TP, very easy actually. 123, 126.6, and 1.60. So it's 13, actually 13, 16 are done. Let me also post this. So why not? Essentially, that is a good trade, right? Because it's actually late. I wouldn't take this trade myself, but it's actually quite a good trade if I'm going to be honest. Um, right? Because you have 3, 6, 7, and about 45 minutes. That is clean. So essentially, it was a choppy day. But what did we have, right? Um, we had 16R, right? But you wouldn't take all three, so I would average this to 4 or 5R. Then we had another setup which hit TP for 3R and 2R. So in total, you would made about 5, 6R. I didn't take any of these setups myself. I actually took a sell on a retracement after news, which was right here. If you look at news, right, I got in right on this retracement. I was looking at the 15 second chart, and what I saw was, let me see if I can explain it. So what I saw was on the 15 second, what did we have? We have price, sweep this high, come back here up, come like price makes this liquidity first of all, right? It is actually like it's a riskier trade, right? What do you have? You have price make this, so we know that the momentum is bearish first of all, right? We know that the momentum is bearish. I mean, we wanted this POY to get tapped, right? So what do you see? Price make a wick, recover the wick, right? Make a high is 110, which is a psychological level, right? It taps it like off 0.2 pip, then it comes back down. Then I see price coming here, and I actually waited for this 15 second to break. And after that broke, I took a market enter. It was actually quite a risky trade. I went low lots, right? I only went in with 4 lots, which are 1%, like 5 pip. 5 pip is like a 5 pip stop. 1% is about let's see, we just calculated. Why am I being stupid? I actually went with lower risk, but the risk reward was very nice. So if you look tools, this is how you calculate risk management, by the way. Oh, this was the wrong one. So 50K, 1%, and then 5 pips. So I should have went 10 lots. I went 4 lots, so it was a nice setup. That's what I took. I took these lows as TP, very simple, 1 to 4, 8. That was what I took, right? But yeah, that's it for backtesting today. It was a choppy day, but could have managed to get like these trades I would never take myself. But the first trade we took which was a 1 to 2 is still a valid trade. 2% day is very, very valid, right? But yeah, that'll be it for today. For this day, right? Which was not a bad day, but it was choppy because you had FOMC. And also, let's look at next week. To be honest, what's gonna happen next week? I saw JPY holiday on Monday, right? Um, yeah. So French and GBP, but it's not really important, right? We only have French holiday, so that's not important. Looks like not a CPI on Wednesday. That's gonna be nuts. Let's see if we can predict CPI. I'm curious, but we could. I don't know. We could like we can't predict, right? Like we can predict it like maybe 15 minutes up front. So we have PPI, CPI, GBP news, and Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday is gonna be nice. It's gonna be a lot of volume. But Monday and Tuesday is also gonna be nice because there's no news, so it's pure price action, right? And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is just gonna be liquidity build up. So yeah, we'll see about that. But this week was crazy for me. I made 23% in just a week, which is crazy, right? Because I made over. I made like how much did I make? I made like 11,200. That's crazy. And if I do a pair, I get like 8,500 or something. So yeah, that's not bad. But you need to wait 2 weeks. So let's see what next week brings. I'm probably not gonna trade on my life if I'm gonna be honest. I might swing like 0.25%, but when you make 23%, you don't want to be trading that. You don't want to be trading that anymore. Like 23%, like I don't know, the last 2 months have been crazy profitable for me. Like I'm probably at my peak right now, and like I'm gonna be honest, probably since I started taking the mentorship so serious, I've been growing myself as well. Because when you teach, you also learn yourself, and it's been doing massive for me. It's actually quite good for me. Which do you see? Forex Factory, bro. Forexfactory.com. That's what you use, yeah. Do I have that posted here? I don't. But yeah, it's Forex Factory, bro. No, I don't have it posted, but let me send the link to you. But yeah, that's it, bro. Anyway, that's gonna be it for the live. It was not long, not short, but it was just a day done, right? See you guys. I think we could do a backtesting session maybe Sunday evening, and then we'll just have a late backtesting of. I don't know. I might do a Monday run of the whole year, but it's gonna be long, so I'll see. But yeah, I'll let you guys know in the Discord anyway. So thanks for coming and peace out, guys. Take care.